Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies here at RacineSportsZone.com. Steve Sparky Fifer along with Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. Time to talk a little Packer football as we get ready for the final preseason game.
You like saying Packer. You've done this like 3 weeks in a row. Packer.
I do it all the time.
Deal?
I don't know. I've always done it.
John Facenda?
So, Packer football is what we're going to talk about. And first off, breaking news as we shoot this video, according to Yahoo Sports, Mason Crosby has restructured his contract. And to nobody's surprise, that's why he's probably still on the football team, because instead of paying him a couple of $1 million this year, they're going to get away with paying him $800,000 this year. Now, he can make up the rest of that through incentives and roster bonuses and all that. The $800,000 becomes guaranteed if he's on the roster in week 1. So he gets that money guaranteed. So if he gets cut, say in week 6, he still gets all $800,000 for this year. I mean, the NFL contracts aren't guaranteed, so I'm assuming that's why Crosby took it, knowing how bad he's been the last couple of years. But they bring in a kicker from Portland State. Raise your hand if you knew Portland State existed, A. B, raise your hand.
They actually had a great quarterback, Neil Lomax, several years ago.
Neil Lomax was from Portland State?
Pretty sure.
Really? The Cardinal quarterback?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, where's our crack producer? You
Good job.
You should be looking that up. Go ahead.
So that was probably the last player. Okay. So they get this kicker from Portland State who had one name at Portland State and another name with the Green Bay Packers. That in itself is weird to me. But besides all of that, he comes in, he's horrible. They cut to Vecchio prior to this. I don't know why. Maybe he was creating too much of a competition for Crosby. They cut him. He's out. They say, oh, don't worry. Just because we're cutting it doesn't mean you're out of the competition. It means you're out. So now Mason Crosby looks like he's going to be the kicker going forward. Did the Packers make the right decision by staying with Mason Crosby as we get ready to head into the regular season?
Yeah, at this juncture, sure. I mean, they should have cut bait with him right from the get-go. If they're going to make a decision, they had their minds predetermined.
They could have got a free agent kicker this offseason.
They were sticking with Crosby, affectionately known to me as Bing.
Okay.
Bing Crosby. Do you know who Bing
White
Crosby
Christmas?
is?
Yes.
Hey,
I got it.
Wow. I am totally impressed. But no, I mean, are we going to see the Mason Crosby we saw last year? Or are we going to see the Mason Crosby we saw a couple of years ago, who is, one of the best place kickers in the league?
He's been horrible for, about 2
years. 2 years.
2 or 3 years. He hasn't been all that good. He really hasn't. I mean,
last year was awful.
Awful. Yeah. 12 missed field goals. I think Ryan Lindell missed 12 field goals in 3 years combined, and he did it in 1 year.
I'm trying to remember. Did any of his missed field goals cost him a game last year? I'm trying to recall.
I don't know.
So, I mean, he's got that on his side. He hasn't choked, literally,
But it changed the way McCarthy was doing things at the end of the year. Because he didn't trust Crosby, he was going for it on fourth down situations where normally he would have kicked.
Right.
And now you change how you coach the football game and put your coach in a very difficult position. If they go through another year with him being as bad as last year and they don't move on, I am going to be spitting mad.
Oh, I mean, it could cost them down the road. I mean, they're flirting with Fifer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Several years ago when Mason Crosby came on the field, it was automatic field goal. Go back through the Packer history when they had Chris Jackie, basically automatically. Ryan Longwell, automatically. And also,
he's still out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like in the NFL, I mean, if you kick, under 85% now, you're not a very good field goal kicker. I mean, all these guys are basically automatics. So my gut feeling, though, is that if he screws up first, second game, they're going to give him a quick hook. Yeah. They're not going to ride. I guarantee you they will not ride this out with
What
him.
Crosby has going for him is everybody loves him. Everybody up there loves him. He's a great guy.
It should have nothing to do.
But it does.
It's irrelevant.
Everybody up there loves him to death. The coaching staff, the players, the general manager, they all love him, and they're all pulling for him and fighting for him because he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is, I think, really is what's saving him right now because if he was a jerk, I think they would have moved on this offseason.
But this isn't high school or college football. This is professional football.
Doesn't matter. You still have emotions attached to decisions.
I think the only emotions attached right now are Ted Thompson.
Sure.
Yeah, that's his guy, so he doesn't want to give up on him. But
you're right about that. Now, other positions that we look at right now going forward, DeJuan Harris out for the year. to the IR at running back. Thank you, Dewan. Had you in 2 fantasy leagues already. So he's out for the year.
Where did you draft him? Like in the 12th round?
No, late.
Okay.
But his backups, because I figured, well, he's going to be the starting running back. Yeah. McCarthy then comes out and says, what was it yesterday, that he planned a majority of his 2013 season around Dewan Harris.
Do you really believe this?
Yes.
If that's
yes,
true,
I do.
Yeah, if that's true, that's absolutely absurd.
Every year,
absolutely absurd.
McCarthy comes in and kind of plans around one guy. It was Finley one year.
There's only one guy you plan around
in
in Green Bay. Everybody knows that.
No. You're saying
number 12. You don't care about anybody else.
But you know what he's going to give you. But then you put in those packages where you're like, okay, he's giving me my focal guy this year that nobody's counting on.
Right.
Randall Cobb was one year. Now I think this year was kind of like, all right, we're going to initiate the offense. We're going to base it around Dewan Harris as far as from the running perspective. Well, Lacy and Dewan Harris aren't the same back.
No, they're not.
Right. So whatever he had planned that he was going to run with Dewan Harris.
1 or 2 plays a game? Yeah, that's what you spend your off season planning around?
I don't know.
I saw that, and it didn't make any sense. This guy isn't Barry Sanders. He wasn't even drafted, was he?
No. He was a guy who McCarthy has said time and time again, he thought he could be very, very good.
Okay.
And he might still be next year, who knows?
Okay.
But without him now you literally have a bunch of guys. Because now you've got Starks, Alex Green, and Franklin has looked horrible to this point out of UCLA. I thought he'd be much better than he is so far. But it's exhibition season. And Lacy has been good when he's been in there. But again, will he be able to stay healthy? Track record says no.
Yeah, he didn't play very well last week.
It wasn't his fault.
Oh,
you had nobody blocking for him. How was it his fault? I don't care if you were Barry Sanders. You've got the ball.
Trust me, if it was Barry Sanders, he'd find an open area.
But Lacy and Sanders aren't the same guy.
No, absolutely not.
Lacy's more along the lines of like a
bench. But getting back to Harris, if McCarthy thought this guy was the second coming of Barry Sanders, why did they go out and draft Franklin? Aren't they basically the same type halfbacks?
No, Franklin is much smaller.
Why would you?
No, Franklin's more of a scat back.
I understand that,
but Harris is going to be an every down back.
Oh, there's no way.
He was his starting running back.
I understand that, but
And I think the reason you took Lacy, and I don't know this, I bet you they were looking at Lacy going, okay, that'll be a way to give him a breather. Lacy can pound the ball a little bit in the fourth quarter, and he can be the goal line guy to score in the end zone or on 4th and 1 situation.
So now next year in the draft, they'll come back and draft 2 more running backs because these guys can do the job.
They're going to give Dewan Harris another shot at this next year. You watch.
And you know who? Again, Aaron Rodgers' influence on that organization is incredible right now. I swear, if he said, guys, let's put in 20 more thousand seats, they'd run out and put in 20,000 more seats. He was a big proponent of Harris last year. He came out publicly, and supporting him. I don't get it. I think he's a nice back, in the right situation, but no, he's not a star type.
So either way, he's out. So now they have to figure out what they're going to do at running back because they cannot afford to have Lacy go down now because now you're in the same situation you were last year. That offensive line, we all know is going to be a question mark going forward this season. And a wide receiver, Gary, hadn't seen Jordy Nelson. Randall Cobb's got a bicep that he's going to play bicep injury. He's going to be playing with.
You don't sound real optimistic about this team.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so what kind of numbers are you throwing out for the year?
Oh, I think they're probably be 9-7.
You know what?
Somewhere in there
I said same thing yesterday. 10-6, 9-7.
But they have a chance to be 8-8. This team, Gary, they can't afford another injury. Let me ask you this: if Morgan Burnett goes down, who's playing that safety position? Right.
Yeah, you know who led the team in tackles last year, by the way?
Who?
The Packers. Who led the Packers?
Yeah, who?
Who? I know.
That's what I'm asking you. Who?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm doing a first base skit.
This is all part of
Morgan Burnett.
Morgan Burnett. What does that tell you about the Packers defense when your safety is your leading tackler? Okay, one other topic real quickly. What's your opinion of Clay Matthews?
I think he's a very good football player. Can't stay healthy because he's got that hamstring every year.
Do you think he's a superstar?
In this league? Yeah, probably.
Okay, let me throw this at you. Top 5, top 10 sack leader in the NFL, right? Where do you think he stacks up in tackles? Now, is it important to be a tackler at all, or just a one-dimensional player?
For him, one-dimensional.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Not even like Lawrence Taylor, but in this
Lawrence
situation,
Taylor made a ton of tackles.
No, but in this
there's no comparison.
Fine, but in this situation, you want him just to go kill the quarterback. That's all you care about. Lawrence Taylor would still go kill the quarterback. And that is essentially what Clay Matthews, Derek Thomas is another one. I mean, I'm throwing out Hall of Famers, I get it. But with Clay Matthews, you don't have anybody else that can do this. You don't have a single other player.
Okay.
If you add another player and now you can rely on him to drop back into coverage and do other things, fine.
So are you
He has to
acknowledging?
get the quarterback.
Are you acknowledging that he's a one-dimensional player?
Oh, I think he's a lot more one-dimensional than people think.
Now here's my next question. Where do you think he ranked in the NFL for tackles last season?
Oh, Lord.
Okay, I mean, first of all, what would you consider to be an ideal linebacker? Not only a guy that can get to the quarterback, but who can also make tackles.
Make tackles, and then guys that can drop back and cover and pass.
DeMarcus Ware, for instance.
But now, again, he's nothing special in pass coverage.
Or Alden Smith, for instance.
That's another one. He's not special in pass coverage.
Okay. No, you can nitpick about that, but they tackle and they get sacks, okay? They got the package, okay?
Man, now you're talking about shedding blocks at the line of scrimmage and making a tackle.
Correct.
That's what you're debating right now.
That you're strictly not a one-dimensional player.
He's not either one of those guys because both of those guys are bigger and more physical.
And definitely better.
Yeah. Where could be a 4-3 end or a 3-4 outside line.
Getting back to my question, where do you think Matthews ranked in the NFL in tackles?
I'll say 50th.
Okay. Guess again.
Higher?
Lower.
Lower.
I mean, what's your definition?
60th?
Keep going.
So I'm going the right direction.
You're going in the right direction.
100th.
Keep going.
150.
Keep going.
200.
Keep going. See that reaction? Now do you think he's a superstar?
Okay, where was he?
Somewhere around 240. I quit counting after I got to a certain point. It was like over 200.
And Jason,
JJ Watt?
No, not JJ Watt. DeMarcus Ware.
I didn't really compare it. I didn't look down. But I was stunned. I thought, okay, somewhere along the line he'd be in the top 100, 150. No way. And now here's a caveat to that too. He did miss 4 games. Okay,
he misses games every year.
Right, exactly. But I'm thinking, like, if you're a superstar, don't you make more tackles than that?
I don't know. That's interesting. I would like to look at all the pass rushers in the league at his position and then compare how many tackles they had to him to get a truer indication of what he was. My biggest knock on Clay Matthews is he can't stay healthy.
And that's the way the NFL is set up today. I mean, you're kind of a specialist in certain areas. Not like the old days where you actually had to make tackles besides making sacks. But weren't you shocked to hear that?
Yeah, I am. But now I'm going to have to go back and actually look at this.
Go look at NFL.com, stats, tackles.
But again, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. My biggest thing is he can't stay healthy. And this hamstring thing is ridiculous. I mean, every year. I mean, every year, I mean, the last guy I could think of that had these type of hamstring injuries was Fred Taylor. Where every year in Jacksonville, you knew Fred Taylor was going to go down a hamstring injury.
Yep.
If you had Fred Taylor in fantasy football, you knew you were going to miss 3 or 4 games with a hamstring. I mean, it is ridiculous how much this guy gets hurt. Other things to look at about this Packer team. Graham Harrell, bye-bye.
You were right about that. I was wrong.
Vince Young is the quarterback.
Did you hear that? I admitted I was wrong.
I forgot all about it. You texted me.
I know.
He texted me and goes, see, I told you Vince Young was going to be
I was
the
being
guy.
facetious, and you get all ticked off. Well, I told you to.
I wasn't upset. I was just like, yeah, I told you too. I said the same thing.
No, I didn't say that, though. That's why I texted you. I was trying to be funny. Okay, anyways.
I forgot totally. But, yeah, so Vince Young is there. I thought, like I told you, that when they brought him in, that was going to be the decision. Graham Harrell now signs with the Jets. Enjoy that. But Vince Young.
Can you imagine? He could be their starting quarterback come opening day.
Yeah. Considering Sanchez is hurt, Geno Smith is horrible. But look at this with Vince Young. Is he good enough to win you 2 football games if Aaron Rodgers misses 2 football games?
I would have to say yes.
Right. And that's all you want.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, that was not a bad pickup by any means. But, whether you can rely on Vince Young for the season, I doubt it.
No, but you don't. I mean, if Rodgers goes out for the year, it's over anyhow.
Right. Yeah, I mean, seriously. How many number 2 quarterbacks can you win 2 games for you?
Well, probably not a lot.
Maybe 3 or 4?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, who's Tony Romo's backup? Who's Eli Manning's backup?
Oh, Romo's backup is Luck's backup is Matt Hasselbeck. Romo's got a veteran backup in Dallas, doesn't he? Kyle Orton? Is Orton his backup?
I'm not sure if he's still on the roster or not.
Orton's his backup for Romo in Dallas.
Is he going to win 2 games for you at this stage of his career?
Probably not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's better than Graham Harrell was. I'd rather have Kyle Orton than Graham Harrell. And I'm not a Kyle Orton fan. So either way, you'll see a lot of Vince Young, is my point, in Game 4. And I would let him run with the ones. And the other thing I would do, that offensive line and Eddie Lacy, they're playing a quarter together. I don't care if Vince Young's a quarterback or not. I want them to blow somebody off the ball, even if it is the Kansas City Chiefs' number 2 guys. Blow somebody off the ball and get some confidence in yourself because they got pushed backwards that entire game against Seattle.
Yeah, that offensive line could be a mess.
San Francisco in week 1.
Oh, my God, that's going to be a mess.
That concerns me greatly.
You know, I watched San Francisco play the other night.
They killed the Vikings.
They killed the Vikings.
Ponder looked horrible.
Their defense looked outstanding.
Yep.
I mean, they looked really good. The Smiths looked,
Buckle up.
Yeah.
That week 1 could be a long afternoon.
Justin Smith could be in Mr. Rogers' face quite often.
Yeah. He is Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer. Our executive producer on this and videographer is the bow-tied Greg Geeson behind the camera. And that's precisely why he's not on the camera. He's wearing a bow tie. Enjoy the rest of your day. This is another edition of Sports Junkies, talking pack of football at RacineSportsZone.com.